get lined up on it. So, how are you feeling getting ready to get out here?
Good. Training was good today. We got 3 good days of training in. We'll do our normal match day -1 tomorrow, and we'll see what we get.
Just a real quick update on how Aber is coming.
He'll be in training next week.
Okay. So is the hope then that he would be available
for some minutes? Yeah.
Okay.
What's the message and anything in particularly special about this game with, some movement in the rotation of the starting lineup, anything like that?
No messaging. We got a good squad. We're going to put out a good squad. We have a good chance of winning if we play up to our potential. There's no separate messages, we're missing this and missing that.
Do you have a opinion on MLS having to play through as much international dates as they are this year?
My opinion is, I get it. We have struggled for years, Jeremiah, having at times, I think our record was like 10 or 11 or something ridiculous like that. So we're kind of used to it. My opinion is, since MLS, plays a little different than the rest of the world, sometimes it can create some headaches for us, but we deal with it.
One of the things I've noticed throughout this year is you seem to have a pretty steady rotation of both Academy and Defiance players who train up with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, how do you go about selecting who is out here? Is that just we need a left back, or is it more than that?
It's more than that. Yes, there are certain days where it's specific to positional needs. But today we had a kid that I hadn't seen before, Seba Gomez. And I think the kid's decent. I don't want to say great, but, he's very good. Love seeing him out here, energetic. The kids all want to be out here. We had Elias, Jack, we've seen before. Our list, Etienne, we've seen before. But, it's always good to have those guys come up and we put eyeballs on them.
Is it oftentimes, so you mentioned Seba Gomez, is this oftentimes the first time you see them when they show up here?
Yeah. Wade and Henry are the ones that are driving that. They coordinate with Andy and Freddie as far as training numbers and all that sort of stuff, but those guys do the lion's share. That's Henry's job.
Has there ever been an instance where someone, maybe not right now, but in the past, where someone just jumped off you just immediately knew that this was a player you needed to get in here more often?
Yeah, we've said that about different players, yeah. I think overall we've done a good job of incorporating younger players with the first team. My opinion is, the coaching staff is, it's critical for us to see them, but it's also critical for the young guys to get a taste of what it's like. And so then they can see, oh, geez, the speed of play is fast, or, oh my God, did you see what Nico did? Or, Yaimar's really big, or, stuff like that, where those are little moments that those young players need to have in their development.
Ethan Dobler's a guy that we've had for a long time. He's come up in the same way. What have you seen about him this year? What's the biggest growth that you've seen?
Yeah, Ethan's always kind of in that category of, he's a good young player, but he hasn't really broken through. Some of it's just, was he going to be a right back, last year, and now does he play, as a wing back or winger like he used to do? So we've kind of pushed him around a lot. That's in fairness to him, but solid, steady, good, always good on the grass. He never gives any problems, always gives 100% effort.
On the other, Ethan's a guy that you could slot in a lot of places. There's young players that you don't get to do that as much. How difficult is it for you to maybe have a guy like Danny that's constantly giving it all during training, but you can't really put him in because there's so much competition there?
Yeah, like Sota. Those guys play a very specific position in midfield. Josh, if Obed's back, and JP. I get it. It's hard. That's why we're forecasting what Defiance games are available. We're trying to look into loans for certain players. So it's an ongoing process.
Similarly, what have you seen from Josh this year in terms of his progression and
He's got a better feel for the game. It comes with experience. I think his heading has gotten better. That was a key point of emphasis because he's a big kid. And if he can really be dynamic on, set pieces, both defending and attacking, that would be a bonus. He's able to get up and down the field. He's a good athlete. So, for me, I just like the fact that he thinks the game a little bit better.
There was a year, I guess it was a few years ago now, where he was tried at center back, and you've used him there periodically. Do you feel like you have that's still something that's potentially in his future, or is he really...
Let's wait a couple years before that happens. I mean, he's got too many good starting points to play in midfield. I don't want to start that yet.
So I guess the question is, you really like him as a midfielder?
Yes, I do.
We've talked a lot about Leo before. This year, this Leo right now, how much better is he than the Leo that arrived here from Brazil?
A year and a half ago.
Year and
3/4 ago. A lot better. His preseason was very good. He's earning more minutes. He's not just going to get more minutes, he's earning more minutes. So that's credit to him and his attitude that he had coming into training camp.
This is a little bit out of left field, but what are your memories of... you probably saw this news that Memorial is potentially getting a second life.
I saw that.
What did you make of that?
Well, are they going to mow it down?
I think so.
It should go, because the small little 12 by 12 concrete posts that hold this ginormous concrete roof that in an earthquake would just...
Yeah, I think my understanding is they're going to preserve the wall, but I think everything else is likely gone.
So Whitey Craig, a referee, I remember him reffing games there, colorful character. Sounder games in the 70s, FC Seattle games in the 80s. There's a lot of good memories in that stadium for me. A lot of good memories for soccer in this city. It's an iconic stadium in some ways because it's right next to Space Needle, convenient. So I'm happy that I'm happy to pay my taxes for that project. Maybe not some others, but for that project, I'm happy to pitch in to try and, make that a great place to play for high school kids, whatever the uses are that was in the newspaper. I think it's great. I think it's a great redevelopment.
Just out of curiosity, I know Nathan Hale has a football stadium, but did you guys
We played there.
Hale
played at Memorial. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Before I ask my off-the-field question, I do want to get your take on what's a couple of aspects that need to be really good for you to get a good result here in sports.
Clean sheet again, playing well. That's one of the positives of the last couple of games. We've played fairly well defensively. We need to keep that going. And then scoring goals. We haven't scored 2 goals in 2 games. So a lot of this week was addressing that.
Okay, now out of left field, Roman Torres is coming back to the area to play against the Tacoma Stars.
He was in Paris, though, I saw, and he was on vacation. If he comes back, I wish I could see Roman Torres play indoor soccer. I wish I had a ticket for that, but I will be in Kansas City. I'll try and find it online. Look, Roman, I have a special place for Roman. He was such a good player for us. He came in his prime. Unfortunately, his knee injury, but then he came back to help us win the championship. I always respect and admired Roman. He's a good person, and was a good player for us.
Any particular memory story that you could say, on record about him that comes to mind?
No, it was just always intimidating because I'd always have to look up to him like this, and then he'd look at me like this, and that whole penalty kick sequence in 2016 when he wanted to be one of the first 5. He's like, Coach, I take the kick. Ramon, you're not going to take it. Coach, I take. I said, no, Ramon, you're not going to take it. Coach, I take. That was kind of good banter. And then since I, had a different 5 going first, number 6, he wasn't going to let me say no. He was going to take the 6th one for sure because he wasn't in the first 5. So there's a little history for you. Thank you, Ramon.